Hello, this is Lisa in Imagination Sisterhood Studio, and today we are making more paperclip bookmarks. And I just kind of played with an idea and came up with these really fun, more slender bookmark style bookmarks. And so I thought I'd show you how to make them. I'm going to give you a simple version and a fussy version. So this is going to be the fussy version where you kind of cut a bunch of stuff out. And this one's more simple. It's going to be kind of plain and you can cut around the shape or use a circle clip. I am going to be using two Graphic 45 collections, which Graphic 45 papers are gorgeous if you are not familiar with them. One we are going to be using is the Enchanted Forest papers. They are just yummy. Like I see them and I just itch to get my scissors out. And the second one is the Cottage Life collection. And again, I mean, just the papers are just yummy, yummy. All right, let's do the easy one first. And that is from the Enchanted Forest collection. I'm using this gorgeous paper. I mean, yikes, how gorgeous. I'm using this, and here's the measurements you're going to need, and it's so simple. You're going to need to cut a strip 1.5 wide, and that's approximate, 1.5 wide, and it's going to be 7 1/4 long. I did most of my cutting so that this would not be a long video, so I'm just going to do this little bit now because I wanted to do some of it while we're working, and most of it is already done. You can make a longer bookmark if you want, if you know people use tall books, but this would be for a standard, just a standard book. All right, so I have, it's an inch and a half by 7 1/4, could be 7 1/2, it's not an exact thing. And the only thing you gotta do is now you're gonna fold it at 6 inches. So I'm gonna put it on my ruler at 6 inches. And I'm going to fold over the top. And I'll tell you what, the only reason the measurement is at 6 inches is because it needs to be longer than a paper clip. Let's see if I do the other side. No, this paper is so dark. Anyway, needs to be longer than a paper clip. Okay, there we go. So that's just, if you're using a really long paper clip, then you need to make this fold longer. We are using a standard paper clip. All right. So that's the basic paper clip. The next thing you need to do, and this is, again, there's like so little prep for this. The next thing you need to do is take a piece of paper that either is coordinating. You can use another piece of this if you want. I just chose black. And you're going to make it a little narrower and smaller than this fold and fold it over. And really all that has to do is it has to be longer than the once again, longer than the paper clip. So whatever your paper is, fold it in half, and it's got to be longer than the paper clip. Okay, so that's the only thing we got to measure there. And from here on in, it's gluing. We're pretty much done. So I've got this folded. The next thing I'm going to do is find the middle of it. This is my own little secret hack for making paperclip bookmarks. You're going to find the middle and 1 1/4. Let's do it centimeters. It's probably easier that way. Now I'm just gonna eyeball it because I can't get an exact measure there. That looks like about the middle. All right, approximately the middle. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to make just a little divot there. Okay, it's not an exact thing. Just a little divot, and that's where your paper clip goes. And what that does is make the paper fold over smooth, and you don't have a lump from the paper clip. All right, the next thing you're going to do is take your glue. In this instance, I am going to use my Ultimate Crafter's Glue. It's just a white glue. I don't need anything special for this, but I do want to make sure that it sticks. I want to make sure I get it on the paper clip. All right. And all the way to the edges. And the edge that's most important is this bottom edge on both sides. So let's do one side first and get that on straight. Make sure I've got glue on my paper clip because I want that to stick no matter what. I'm going to stick it in here up tight against the fold in the center. centered and in the fold, and then fold it down. That's easy peasy. Anybody can do it, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Make sure it's all the way up in that fold. It is. Good job. And then we glue the second side. Careful not to get the glue on this. And you want that right on the edge. It's really important. It's on the edge. If you need to, you can stick a little paper guide there. You could put like a piece of tape or something so you don't go past that little black piece of paper. And we're going to fold that over. And if you wanted to, you could be done. You could put a ribbon through there. It makes a really pretty paperclip bookmark. But this was really fun. So what I did, this is the easy one. These are stamps that came with the set of the Enchanted Forest. I have this really fun edged scissor. It's called Stamp. It's by Fiskars, and it when you cut it, it looks like a stamp. And that's why I like it. And I'm going to trim those up. So I've got 2. So you're going to need 2 images, one for the back, one for the front. Because these are kind of light, they don't show, and I want it to really pop. All right. So I'm going to glue. That didn't cut very well. Hold on. All right. I'm going to glue the stamp to my little piece of black paper. If this piece, if it really stands out, you don't need to do this part. All right. I'm doing this part because I want it to really pop. So I'm just going to glue this on this paper. Nothing magic about that. And I'm going to glue the second one. You're not going to believe we're done. Like, this is it. And what I like about this is, I'll show you what the one that's already done. When you put it on your page in your book. So this is your page. It pops up over the top, so you can see it up the top of your book. So that makes it really fun. All right, we are ready to go. All we are going to do is glue this onto our bookmark piece. And we want to put it up above the top so that it shows above the book. You're going to have this little pretty fairy hanging out above your book so you can see it. And I'm going to put my glue on here because I want to make sure I get that paper on there so that it sticks up. If I put it on the glue, then I'll have glue all over the back. And we're just going to make this stick right up there on the top. Did overdo my glue a bit. I do want to make sure that she's nice and high above the book. And the way you can see that is this is where the paperclip is. So wherever the paperclip is, so when you see your book, that's what's going to be sticking out. All right, so this side is gorgeous, right? But you turn it over and you see this, and I don't like that. That's why you have your second image. So we're going to take our second image. Oh, I forgot a step. Hold on. I've got this great lacy stuff. Where do we want to stick that? Let's peel this back a little bit and put some glue. I forgot I had this great lacy stuff to put on here. Let's put a little smidge of this in both sides. Just tuck a little piece in there. Love it. All right, and it'll show up even more on the other side. Because on the other side, it's short. So on the other side, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put it so it's hanging down. You could do this with lace. You could not do this. I mean, this project can be seriously as easy as you want it to be. I made it a little complicated, as usual. And pop that up a bit. And now we want to glue this so that it's glued to the back of the other one. I think I want this off to the side a little bit. Doesn't look like much right now, but when you stick it on a page, gorgy, gorgy porgy. So you've got both sides are absolutely beautiful. All right. So that's the first one, and that's the easy one because you're just using squares. Nothing, no fussy cutting. If you want a fussy cut, have at it. So that's the second one we're going to make. Nothing different, we're just repeating it. This one is a little more than 1.5 inches wide because it's obviously already a strip. This is what it came like, so I just cut an obvious section out of my stripe. Again, I needed it 7.5 long. 7.5 is right here, approximately. Again, we don't have to get caught up in exact numbers because it's just a bookmark. And I figured that way, actually that number is out of my head. I just kind of figured, well, I think a book is about 7 inches, you know, like paperbacks, we don't need it to go all the way to the bottom of the page. All right, and you might want to use I've got a shapy scissor. Maybe use a shapy scissor on the bottom, make it pretty. Where's my shapy scissor? Here we go. Let's use this one. So I've got a scallop. You can do all kinds of extras. All right, that would be pretty. All righty, let's not get complicated before we even get going here, Lise. And then we are folding this down at, once again, it's 1.5 inches. And that is just because we need it longer than the paper clip. Okay. And this one, I forgot to cut my piece. Oh, this is already just a little narrow. I think this piece of paper that was just on my desk is going to be perfect for this. And it has to be just shorter than my flap. And my flap is there, so let's cut it off. And this, again, has to be, all we care about is it longer than my paper clip? And the answer is yes, it's longer than my paper clip. And this doesn't matter so much because the hope is that it doesn't show. All right, and remember again, we're going to not kind of bend it in half a little bit, find out where the center is, right there. Cut a little notch, and that allows my paper clip. That creates a smooth edge for my paper clip. Once again, going to use my white glue. Nothing special about this glue. We'll glue one side. The important part is getting it down to this very edge on the bottom below the paper clip and getting the paper clip gluey. Gluey, Louie paper clip. All right, so that's side one. Stick this puppy up in here to the fold. Make sure I got that folded right. Be funny. Yep, that's folded right. Okay. Stick it up in here against the fold. Make sure it's not hanging out one side or the other. It's right in the center. Push it up and then push your paper down. And really push, you can feel where the paper clip is. I always like to try to push in there to make sure that the paper is gluing around the paper clip. That's the one side. A little more glue, glue the second side. Again, if you have trouble with glue, stick something. Where's a piece of scratch? Here we go. Stick something up against here because you do not want to get, you want the glue on the edge, but you don't want it to go over the edge because that will create a problem. All right. Got the glue all over my paper clip. Fold this down. I mean, could this be any easier? I think not. All right, let's just make sure we didn't get any glue in the center there. Make sure it didn't stick. Yep, we're good. All right, so this is where I did a little bit more fussy. I did a fussy cut of a flower that came out of that kit. And this, I wanted it to stick above the top. Remember, this is the paper clip is the top of our book. And so this is going to hang out on the top. All right. So, and I have a little piece of really pretty lace. I'm going to put that on there first. So let's do that. Glue the lace first. I kind of think of this short side as the front side, but whatever. It's a two-sided bookmark. That's the fun part. All right, and then we're going to stick some glue only on the bottom of this. Get it stuck to the page where we want it. I mean the marker. Oh, this goes this way. All righty. So we're just going to stick this and make sure that it's hanging out over the top. I also like to put the two sides because then it makes it stronger, so that when it gets, you know, bookmarks hanging on the top of a book, it might get smashed or something. So we don't want it to get smashed all the time. All right, and I cut this pretty piece to go on the back. And this is just a circle. So although you did the fussy on the front, I did a plain on the back, but it makes a pretty backdrop. All right. So we are going to finish gluing our fussy cut in the front. You could use pre-cut, you know, die cut things for this. And like this one I did was butterflies, so that was easy. So if you have already pre-cut butterflies or pre-cut flowers, then they just go already. You don't have to do the fussy cutting. And I'm going to flip this over to make sure that it shows. I want it to show on this side. All right. Can you believe it? That's it. That's as hard as it is. Could not be any easier. And what pretty bookmarks they make. I mean, look at those. And you can tuck other papers underneath of them. I think they're so pretty and so easy. Oops, my glue didn't dry, so that came off. A little too quick, as usual. I'm always in a hurry. Girl in the hurry, that's me. All right. You know what I remembered? I realized I didn't glue this to the bottom. That's why it came out. All right. So there you have a little fussy one. See, those are the fussies. And these are the easies. And aren't they just pretty? If you like this video, please like, comment, share. And thank you for joining me, and thank you for creating with me. This is Lisa in Imagination Sisterhood Studio.